Hello, Derek.
Hi, Colin.
You're not Malcolm.
You noticed that too.
I did. It's pretty easy to recognize the difference. Did Mal reach out to you and say, hey, can you cover for me today?
Something like that.
Something like that. Hey, everybody, it's Try Before We Die. We today apparently is me and Derek, the babysitter from the paintball team. I'm Colin. Speaking of paintball, I'm MJ. And welcome to the show. This is Derek, the babysitter. Derek, welcome back on the show. You've been with us before.
Yes, I have.
You know the deal, right? It's a random bottle pull, whatever it is, commonly available, or, you wish you had it. If we pull it, we open it, right? There are, I think, 1 or 2 bottles that are not in rotation because of the absolute scarcity of them. But other than that, every bottle in this bar is open for pulling. Will you push the number today, Derek? Let's see what we're drinking. Hold it for a few seconds. I'm understanding that the randomness increases the longer we hold it. Let's see what we're grabbing today.
Ooh.
Oh boy. Don't do the count. So, number 4. Just right there. So my recollection is we're probably in a Laphroaig. It's like right there. I'm gonna turn around, everybody, and see what we're getting. Ooh. And I was right. It's the Laphroaig Triple Wood. Been on the shelf for a while. I'm not even sure if we can sort out what year, but the poor label has tried to escape. It looks just come off. Trying to sort out when did I get this bottle? I wonder if if they give us anything about the particular year on this release. I've got nothing. This was purchased in the States. Triple matured for peat, oak, and subtle sweetness. The most richly flavored of all Scotch whiskies. Established 1815. We're going to talk a little bit about that date in a second. Derek, I'm just going to open this bottle, get it breathing in our glasses, and we'll chat for a second.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, that's the deal, everybody. Doesn't matter what it is. If it gets pulled, we open it. Sometimes we've seen some episodes where I've been like, This is exciting, though, to be so close to the number 1 slot, right? That lets us know the randomness, Derek, right? That it could be bottle 250 and it might be bottle 4, right? We don't know. The magic box, bottle number 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a nice foil pull. Just come off just like it's like a sailor's cap, right? Hopefully no cork failure. Whiskey bottles are stored upright so that the corks don't affect flavor over time. But when opening a bottle, should always give it a little moisture. And let's see if and always turn before you pull. There it goes, freed up.
Yep.
That's deep. What do you think about that noise? What does it remind you of? What sound do you get?
Nothing pops to mind right now.
Not lively? Let's get it into a glass. Get it breathing. Really love those.
Yep.
It is that first pour that really glugs the best. Get it seated.
Do we know an ABV on that?
Yeah. Oh, great. So I was just going to put it up there, but I'm like, there's a few things on this bottle I wanted to discuss. So Derek asks on the ABV, alcohol by volume or proof, which is double ABV. So we're at 48% ABV, which means in proof that's
right.
48 times 2.
It's 96.
96. Which in reverse is a Glenmorangie 12. If you're watching this show, you would know that. The triple wood, triple matured for Wow, I don't know if you can smell that peat, but boy, it just got to me just sitting here, and we have these capped already. Established 1815. Now, one of the things, if you're a fan of the show, that we've recently brought up was that King George IV allowed for legitimate taxed distillation to begin in 1823. So Laphroaig has 1815. Well, these guys were cheating for a few years. Gotta love that. Let's see if we can learn anything else about this Laphroaig. Aged first in former bourbon barrels, then in quarter casks. Now, a quarter cask, Derek, do you know what that is?
No, I've never.
So it's 1/4 the size of those full barrels. I have a few here in the bar, which allows for more of the spirit to be in contact with the wood.
Okay.
Does that make sense, right? In terms
So it pulls a stronger flavor?
Right. Age, then in quarter cask. Triple wood's a final maturation, right? So first wood is the bourbon barrel. Second wood is moved to the quarter casks. Triple wood's final maturation comes in large European oak casks. I wonder if those are the butts, right? Because a buttload is an actual measurement, which is a much bigger barrel. The result is the perfect marriage of peat, oak, and subtle sherry sweetness. Interesting. So I would imagine the sherry sweetness is going to be that large European oak cask, because again, many of the sherry finishes are coming from Spain, and so they're the European, right? Cloudiness when mixed with water. So we know that this isn't chill filtered. Which is normal for a non-chill filtered whiskey, like triple wood. Savor it as we savor the mint that rolls in across the bay. Oh, the mist. Savor it as we savor the mist that rolls in across the bay outside our distillery. To find out more about Laphroaig, visit our website. No age statement. Derek, while this breathes a little bit, and I am absolutely picking up on this peat, and I may just be closer to the glasses, I do have a question for you. Of course, I know you from the paintball team, and we beat you in that tournament all those years ago and all that, and you love talking about it, I know. Lemonade's a big fan of that story, too. But I have a question for you. There was a long period of time where you guys would slip things into my gear bag for me to... where did this come from? Now, what I'm not asking about is the thing that was regularly put in my gear bag, the book that regularly showed up, and I have a whole shelf of those. I believe you are responsible for the beginning of an idea that never really matured fully in terms of a placement in my gear bag. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's see if we're on the same page. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the encyclopedias.
Is it this?
Yes.
The Britannica. And you brought me, in my bag, showed up volume 1. And I think there was a sort of a sneaky plan to sort of give me a whole set. And it just didn't come to fruition due to circumstances with the team and all this sort of stuff. Your idea alone? Were you in on it with anybody? What was going on with the? We're gonna give MJ a set of encyclopedias.
I think I mentioned it to one or two people before I brought the book with me, but I had the idea myself. Yeah. I heard about others putting other books in.
Right. Right. And I had a number of books related to the series of books I regularly got. What was this back in the day? What website was this? What did this represent, the encyclopedia?
Well, that was well before websites.
Yeah.
We got that back in the 80s.
Sure. So what, in today's language, if this was a website, this would be?
Wikipedia.
Right. Or Google. Right. This is your search engine.
Yep.
Right. Well, I'm searching for something that begins with an A. So if I was looking for, can't pronounce that word. Well, let's see. These are hard words. If I was wanting to look up something on Thomas Arnold, It would be Arnold, Thomas. Born June 13th, 1795 in East Cowes, Isle of Wight, England. Died June 12th, 1842, Rugby, Warwickshire. Educator who, as headmaster of the rugby school, had much influence on public school education in England. So if you were back in the day doing a report in school, you're old enough to remember that before right? This was like where you sourced your information.
That's why we got those books.
So remember, kids, the internet used to just be published yearly with updates. Imagine doing your research that way. Do you remember, Derek, what the catalog system was called in the school library?
The Dewey Decimal System.
Yep. And there would... You got it easy, everybody. You got it easy. Back to this whiskey.
Yep.
All right. So we've got this no age statement triple wood. We know we have European oak, most obviously finished in sherry. We've got quarter cask and we've got bourbon. We know, I've already said it, I'm smelling that peaty, smoky aroma. 96 proof, 48 ABV. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's just talk briefly. Where are we at on color for you?
It is definitely a light amber.
Yeah, right. It's so easy to go to those classic color references, but it is a light amber for sure. If I was gonna go somewhere not in the classic spectrum of words, I might go with this is a very mild tobacco.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you see where I'm getting at there? Yep. All right. Well, shall we go to a nosing?
Sure.
All right. What did you channel, Malcolm? My bell always rings and his doesn't.
Well, yeah. I gotta hold it from the bottom.
Gotta hold the bottom. There you go. All right. Nosing on this no age statement, Laphroaig, triple wood.
Oh yeah, you can definitely pick up the peatiness.
Right, but not. It's not stabbing you with peat.
Right.
It's like if you were being burned at the stake. The fire has just started to get going, and but it went out. But you can feel the waft of smoke coming through.
Yep.
They're asking us to think of it in the sense of savor it as we savor the mist that rolls in across from the bay. Right. It's a misty smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
Because of the peat.
Yes.
Right. That it can be scary sometimes to folks like, oh boy, here we go. Am I ready for what this is going to bring? I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's have a taste. So that was easy.
Yeah. I was expecting more smoke. I can taste the smoke a little bit, but it's not overpowering.
Right. It's a mist.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What was that guy? John Carpenter? Didn't he make that film, The Mist? Or was that The Fog? Right. If this was a horror movie, it's that made-for-TV horror movie. Mm-hmm. It's so subtle. Right. It's obviously there, but it's not like you're not having to like watch it like this.
Yeah.
Right. You're like, oh, I can watch this. We can turn the lights off too. It'll be fine. I won't be too scared. Right. So it's not as scary, right? Right. And again, that's that idea when it comes to these peaty whiskeys that folks really have to sometimes be coached through. It's not gonna necessarily be that. Mm-hmm. You know, the Compass Box has their series release, the Peat Monster. This is not a peat monster.
Not
right. This is a drinkable peat whiskey. Right. Mm-hmm. And I like the Peat Monster. But in terms of breaking somebody into a peat, do you feel like this more entry level peat?
Yeah.
So let's see if we pick up any other sort of flavors now that we've sort of explored the peat. They did talk a little bit about sherry sweetness. Because the peat, the smoke comes from me at the end. Resting in my mouth, I find some sweetness up front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you picking? Does that make sense? Are you picking up on that?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't have nearly as much experience as you with Scotch, but I kind of get what you're talking about.
Yeah. And we're working on that experience,
Yep.
right? Right. It's like we're playing some sort of a paper dice based game. You're gonna level up, right? You're gonna get some experience points here today, Derek, and we'll check your character sheet and see if you're gonna be a level 3, right? Do I have that right? Is that kind of how that goes?
Yeah.
I remember, I had the monster manual, right, and I had those things, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That was fun. That was back when we did our reports on the printed Google.
You had to handwrite everything.
I remember one time I was in detention after school, and I could leave detention when I had copied a page from the dictionary. And though this isn't a dictionary pages would look like this.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed?
Yep.
Yeah. I got about this far down on a page and was just like, I'm going to take the suspension, and walked out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I am not copying that. Good times. As I spend time with that smoke on the nose, it's really relaxing in the glass. Mm-hmm. It's really finding its home as a subtle presentation. We trapped it with the lid, right? And that was our potent nosing.
Yep.
Right off the bat, but it has relaxed quite a bit. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it almost seems as if some of that sherry is now leading the charge.
Yes.
Knowing that smoke is in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I'm experiencing this drink. Sherry sweetness up front, smoke on the end. Very mild finish.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, it's not long, it's not lasting. Oftentimes we'll think of these Islay, by the way, the Islay region. We'll think of these Islas as medicinal. I'm not experiencing this as a medicinal whiskey.
Not at all.
Which would, a medicinal quality would often be connected to that really deep, peaty, smoky, high alcohol, right? You know, because medicine often rests with alcohol as its carrier. Though we have a high alcohol, we have a 96 proof. I'm not picking up on alcohol in this glass.
No, it's not strong alcohol at all.
Right.
Even though it's a 48,
yep.
It doesn't taste like a 48.
Right. It's not coming across, right? Right. It's really, and I don't know if they use the word married in here, but this is all married together. I feel like they did. Marriage of peat, oak, and subtle sherry sweetness, right? I mean, they have put together a nice bottle. My belief is in the year 2022, this bottle has sat in this bar for a minimum of 5 years, and quite likely longer. So this is this expression, this release is not available anymore, though they may still release the triple wood. I'm going to just take one quick glance. I'm going to start in the index for the Laphroaig, and just to see if the triple wood goes back a while. L.A. Lagavulin. There's a nice one. Looks like it begins on 324. Well, that makes sense. We're in the G's. There's the Lady Burn. We're in the neighborhood. Lagavulin, Laphroaig. 10-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-old, 1976. That'd be a nice one to come across. 30, 40. Oh, gosh. So not in the book. So really difficult to note, but we'll just see if there's anything about the distillery. Built in the 1820s. Of course, they're noting they established in 1815. They probably, can't because it was moonshining. So awesome of them. Its maturation warehouses face directly onto the sea. And so, again, oftentimes we'll note some maritime flavors. So let's just talk a little bit about that, Derek, before we move into the end of this episode. Are you noting, because I'm not trying to be psychosomatic, are you noticing anything salty in this drink? Because I felt like just now in my mouth, as I thought it, I was like, oh, I almost felt like I just tasted some sea salt. So I'm going to have another sip, and I'm going to try to focus on, are there any maritime notes?
Okay.
And of course, brine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel unreasonable feeling like I am picking up on something slightly oceanside, slightly maritime, slightly salty.
Mm-hmm.
You finding any of that?
Yeah, just a little bit when I'm looking for it.
Right, right. And that's the idea, right? Is that in the snobby end of the Scotch whiskey spectrum, it is about looking for what you find.
Mm-hmm.
And again, being slightly like, wow, for a whiskey, there's a lot going on here, right? Clearly a different whiskey than you've had in the past?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, the Laphroaig, no age statement, triple wood, triple matured, 48% ABV, by appointment. Oh, so this is interesting. The world has shifted a bit recently, and now we are with Long Live the King. By appointment by the Prince of Wales. Now, I have read this recently. Of course, next in line to the throne on the male side is always the Prince of Wales. So King Charles, I think the third now, was the Prince of Wales, and he just elevated Prince William to be the Prince of Wales. This has been approved by the Prince of Wales, and I have read that King Charles III does enjoy a glass of the Laphroaig. So he has approved this. Distilled and supplied, blah, 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 of the importer. But again, an Islay region release. So just a little bit of history on this bottle. The Prince of Wales, who is now the King of England. This is one of his drinks. King Charles III. Anything else that we should wrap with?
Nothing I can think of.
Yeah.
Maybe a pairing?
Oh, we have a New York cheddar and we have a pineapple. What would you think makes the most sense?
The cheddar.
All day.
Mm-hmm.
All day. Right? I agree with you 100%. I can't find the pineapple, though off camera I will try it. But ask me between these two, I'm in agreement with you. Not quite room temperature, but working its way there, a New York cheddar. And while I have mine, my glass is getting low.
Mm.
Slightly sharp, slightly creamy, kind of in betweeny.
Mm.
That works.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
It's not the most like amazing pairing ever, but that works given our choice of pineapple and cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Derek, thanks for joining me on set today. If you get a chance when you stroll the property later, untie Malcolm or whatever you did to him to take his spot. But thanks very much.
Yeah, it was great being here.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, our toast today apparently is deep philosophy. And it resonates. But it doesn't completely connect to our experience today with this bottle of whiskey because without, we wouldn't have it. But may we all have the chance to prove that money can't buy happiness. Absolutely. Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
You know, there's this thing of, is it Laphroaig or Laphroaig?
Mm-hmm.
And I've always gotten lost, and I believe it's Laphroaig, and I'll do some research and find out it's Laphroaig. I'm wrong a lot in my life. This bottle was nice, Derek.
Yeah, it was.
Any things you want to leave us with as we walk off set?
That's just a nice, enjoyable, not strong, peaty or smoky, but you can definitely taste it.
Right, you can pick up on all those.
Yeah.
You can pick up on all those profiles. It is, as they note, this nice marriage of oak, peat, and sherry, and it comes together well. These Islay region releases from Laphroaig, right, which are all the Laphroaigs, right, they're well done.
Yes.
I've not had one that I've been disappointed by. Yeah, but you have to know what you're getting into because you are going to have a peaty maritime whiskey. It's a nice pour.